Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Listen to that. Nothing beats a vinyl. Some technology just stands the test of time. Our technology not only brings the cool, it also brings the heat. At Mitsubishi Electric, we've been mastering and innovating heat pump technology since 1970. EcoDan, continued innovation in heating for home and business. Mitsubishi Electric, changes for the better.
She to me, oh, she to me. I don't want no jet black woman. Oh, she to me, Lord, oh, she to me. I don't want no sugar in my coffee. It make me mean, Lord, it make me mean. I don't want no sugar in my coffee. It make me mean, Lord, Lord, it make me mean.
Warning. Each episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, will contain descriptions of acts of violence or of a sexual nature and are for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off the internet or from some television show. These facts I'm retelling were presented to me by the victims of the crime or the perpetrators who committed the crimes. My descriptions of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own 2 eyes. If you are going to get offended, turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Before we get started on today's episode, I want to make an announcement and let y'all know to tune in at the end of the episode. Don't quit listening, because I'll be making several announcements to our patron members and our fans and giving some shout outs and stuff like that. So stay tuned at the end of today's episode. And with that, let's get started. On June 20th, 2003, I was working as a deputy in the Uniform Patrol Division for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. However, on this day, it was a Friday, I was off duty, having worked the Wednesday night and the Thursday night before this day. And I lived in the town of Albany, Louisiana, which is the easternmost town in Livingston Parish, right before you cross into Tangipahoa Parish. Maybe the town limits in maybe a half a mile from the Tangipahoa Parish line. So I was living in an apartment kind of in the heart of town, if you will. Let me describe Albany to you. This is classic small town America. It only had one grocery store. It had one local hamburger joint, Ertie's, where everybody would go for your hamburgers and your french fries and your ice cream or whatever. It had the one gas station, which was, I believe, a Junior Food Mart at the time, and had the absolute best fried chicken. Anyway, Junior Food Mart had the best fried chicken, and I would always get a 4-piece spicy and a large fry. But Ertie's had the best hamburger, and there was one little grocery store, and I didn't do much cooking at the time. I was a bachelor. You had the high school and the middle school and the elementary were right there in the heart of town together. And almost directly across the street from that is the police station and the fire department. And next door to that is the justice of the peace and the / barbershop, et cetera, that I mentioned on the Highline episode. And it was just small town America. They had another little convenience store. I think it was just south of the town limits, though. But it was small town America. There was one diner that was open early in the morning where all the locals would meet up and have their coffee and their breakfast, etc. But it was closed by the end of lunchtime. And Highway 190 ran right through the north edge of town from east to west, as well as a set of railroad tracks, which were right off of Highway 190. And Louisiana Highway 43 ran north to south through the town limits. And that was a major thoroughfare, y'all. It's just a small town, and everybody knew everybody, and Friday night football was big, and baseball, and, just small town America, really, really good people, very low crime rate. And the police department consisted of the Chief Russell Hutchinson, who had been there forever, and I think is still there today. And it has to be one of the longest running chief of police in the state of Louisiana, and Assistant Chief Ronnie Gregoire. And they were full-time employees. And then they had 2 part-time employees. One was Leon Winstead, is an awesome friend of mine. I actually stood in his wedding. He was single. On June the 20th, he was single, and he actually had the apartment 2 doors down from mine. So we were just super tight, running buddies. And great guy, great cop, but his main job was he was an engineer on a riverboat on the Mississippi River. But on his days off, he would do the Albany Police Department. Certainly not because he needed the money, but because he loved to be a cop. And the Albany Police Department's call signs, like mine was LP 361, Livingston Parish 361, my unit number. Theirs were AP, Albany Police, and their numbers, and Leon's was AP4. What a great cop. We used to have so much fun. And then the other part-time was Robbie Ellis, and he was a full-time flooring guy, and he did it pretty much the same thing, not because he needed the money, but because he loved policing. Now, at the time, on the east side of the parish, which is Livingston Parish, was split geographically east to west for law enforcement purposes. And the east side of the parish, generally, the sheriff's office would have 2 deputies, 10-8, or on duty at a time, sometimes maybe 3 if the shift was full. And so if you called any kind of major call over on the east side of the parish, the town cops, which were Albany and Springfield and Killian, well, oftentimes that was your only backup. Your partner might be
the east side of the parish geographically is huge. I mean, you might be way up north 20 miles from your partner when he catches a 911 disturbance down south, and they didn't have any backup. So the town guys would roll out and back you up. So we became really, really close with them. And I was really close with the Albany guys. Not only did I live there, but go hang out when the calls would slow down. Sometimes I would stop in, hang out at the Albany PD. And Chief Russell was just funnier than hell. And Ronnie Gregoire was a pretty good character also. And of course, like I said, Leon. And Robbie was good guys, right? Just small town. So actually, let me tell you this. At nighttime, the full-time guys would go in, but either one of them would be on call. It would be either the chief, Russell, or the assistant chief, Ronnie Gregoire. And they alternated it out, right? So the chief told me one time, he said, Woody, I always make my schedule to be on call when I know you're on duty. He said, I want to be on call overnight when you're on duty because I know you'll never call me out for anything. He said, if anything happens in town, you come and handle it and you arrest them, and I don't have to worry about anything. He said, but you believe one thing. If you have to call me out, somebody's going to jail. Russell's a super good cop, man. He's just old school and patient, and never see him get excited about anything. But in a time where everybody has semi-automatics, Russell had a old revolver. I remember that clearly. I was like, Chief, why don't you carry a Glock or a Beretta or whatever? And he said, because the revolver will never hang up. He said, it'll never jam like your pistol will. Point taken. So back to it, on June 20th, 2003, it was hotter than hell. I remember that from the night before. We're really getting into the heart of summer, and July and August get a little bit worse, but it wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was a bright, hot day. And I had gotten off that morning at 6 a.m. and that would be the one day, Friday, a week that I didn't have to go in for court for people that are arrested to testify, et cetera. Usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'd have to go in to court and handle whatever cases, motions to suppress or whatever, testify and whatever the cases may be. But Fridays, I looked forward to because I knew I was going to be off. And I would get in and have something to eat, watch a little TV, and go to bed about 7, maybe 8 o'clock a.m. and generally wake up 2 or 3. So I was up and I had my radio on charge. Now, when I would come in my door, I'd take off my gun belt, and I had a nail inside the door, and I hung my gun belt on the wall, right? It's a really heavy thing. So you got 2 pair of handcuffs and your ass baton and your Freeze Plus P and your 2 extra magazines for ammunition, and then your duty weapon and your flashlight and shit. The belt itself weighed probably 5 or 6 pounds. You add all that stuff in, and it's a lot of weight. But I hung it inside the door on the wall, and then I would take my radio off the belt and put it on the charger on the countertop in my kitchen, which was a small apartment. And so I would turn it on when I got up and listen. Just kind of always in the background was the radio in case something bad ever broke off. But that afternoon, about 4:45, something like that, the Livingston Parish Dispatch came over and said, all units, there's a 64G in progress at the Hibernia Bank in Albany. Now, if I stepped outside my apartment door, I could throw a rock almost and hit the Hibernia Bank. And at the same time, the Albany Police Department, and that's how close we all were together. Less than a quarter mile, I would say. So I threw on some jeans and shoes, and I grabbed my radio and my gun belt, and I ran out the door and got in my unit. About 10 minutes earlier, inside the Hibernia Bank, there were 4 employees. One whose initials I'm going to use, CI, then another lady named Teresa Rogers, and another lady, Michelle Kreko, Kreko, and Lucy Henwinkle were working inside the bank. And one customer came in, Michael Threaton. He came in to cash his paychecks Friday afternoon, right? At the same time, they had an older model Cutlass, Oldsmobile Cutlass vehicle pull up to the bank. Now, this bank parking lot, you couldn't pull, when you pulled in, you could not park directly in front of the bank. The bank faced Highway 190, but it had grass in front, and you had to pull into the parking lot, which was, if you're facing the bank, the parking lot's on the right-hand side. You have to park on the right-hand side and get out and walk the walkway to the front of the building. And along that walkway is the ATM, which is on the exterior of the building. But the Blue Olds pulls up, and 3 black males get out, dressed in all black. As they approach the door, the 3 males put on black ski masks, actually as they were entering the door. And the last one was pulling down his mask. Enter the bank, and they start screaming, stick up, get down, motherfuckers. And it just pointing the guns in the employees' faces. One of the males jumps the counter immediately and starts to empty the cash drawers. The other male put the customer and one of the employees down at gunpoint on the floor. Third male, who appeared to be the leader of the ring, made CI get on the floor and told her to get on her hands and knees. Now, meanwhile, they're screaming and hollering and cussing, and the employees are begging for their lives. And the one that made CI get on the floor on her hands and knees, I mean, it's kind of an awkward, not an awkward, but a odd instruction for a robber to tell somebody to get on their hands and knees. And CI was,
Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
It's an attractive female. The robber told her to get on her hands and knees, and when she did, he reached down and started rubbing her on her genital area. And when she screamed, he said, "Shut up, you fucking bitch. I'll fucking kill you," and put the gun to her head. Once the robber behind the counter cleared out the drawers, they demanded to know who the manager was, which was Teresa Rogers. And the one who was rubbing CI's private area, her genitals, took Rogers to the vault door and demanded her open it. "Open the door, bitch. Open this vault, bitch." And Rogers was so nervous that she was fumbling to get the vault open. And the robber puts the gun to her head and says, "You fucking bitch, I'm going to blow your fucking brains out if you don't open it." And so she was able to open the door. But she, like all of them later stated, she thought she was going to be killed. And she got the vault door open, and they were able to make entry into the vault. They grabbed a bunch of money, and then they ran back out the front door. Right before they ran back out the front door, a Livingston Parish Sheriff's deputy who was getting off of work, she worked in a courthouse, Miss Linda Brown, pulled up and is getting out of her vehicle, preparing to walk up to the ATM. And lo and behold, running out of the door come 3 males dressed in dark clothing, wearing ski masks and carrying guns in large bags full of money. Thank God they didn't see her or shoot her or whatever. She didn't carry a firearm. And like I said, she worked in the courthouse and was a really sweet lady. So they jump into the older model Cutlass and drive off eastbound on Highway 190 towards the Tangipahoa Parish, Livingston Parish line. Now, Miss Linda saw that the vehicle had a temporary license plate duct taped actually onto the car. It was a Wisconsin plate. Okay, a temporary license plate from Wisconsin, which stood out like a sore thumb. And so they speed away, if you will, towards the parish line. Now, at the same time, the employees, of course, hit the buzzer for 911. It goes into the dispatch for Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. And that's when they made the call out. There's 64G in progress at Hibernia Bank. And like I stated earlier, I'm running out the door as quickly as possible and pull up to the bank. I mean, I jump in my unit, I hit it. I mean, I'm there. But when I'm pulling up, both Chief Hutchison and Ronnie Gregoire are pulling up at the same time. And they go in, and I mean, everybody's shook up. Those ladies really thought they were going to die. An armed robbery is actually a crime of violence, even if they don't shoot anyone. And it's considered a crime of violence in the state of Louisiana because it injures you. Okay. It's mentally violent. And these guys were classic on that. They came in, they established control by force, which is putting, even though it's not physical force, they didn't touch them at that point, putting guns in people's faces and making them get down on the floor. Then you got the one pervert who likes the way CI looks and makes her get on her hands or knees and takes the time to violate her sexually by rubbing her private area, her genital area. And when she screams, he, "Shut up, you fucking bitch. I'll blow your head off." Right. Anyway, so they're headed eastbound on Highway 190 towards the Tangipahoa line. Now everybody's starting to respond, right? When that call goes out, they did it on both tacks, which means the west side of the parish was on tack 1. That's just radio channels, y'all. And the east side on tack 2. Well, when that goes out, they 1033 the net for tack 2, which covered the east side, which means emergency traffic only. So everybody else switches over to tack 1 to do their regular communications, but everybody is going to respond to this. All your town police, Killian, Springfield, Livingston actually has its own police department in the town of Livingston. And whatever guys were free on the west side, plus everybody like me that worked for the sheriff's office or any type of law enforcement that had their radio on, they're all responding, right? I mean, it's not a question of getting paid or whatever at this time. You do the job because you love it. So we get there, and Miss Linda tells us the vehicle and the direction that it drove away, which, y'all, on the parish line, if you take Highway 190 towards the parish line, and right before you get to the parish line, you take a left across the railroad tracks onto what they call North Cafe Line Road. It is a long, straight road. It's probably 3 to 4 miles long. And as you go down, it's pretty rural at the beginning of it. There's like one bar that's only open on weekends that's on the left, and a couple houses spread out on the right and left for the first mile or two. Then it starts to become more populated and turns into one of the only what's kind of known as the hoods in Livingston Parish. And it just gets into poor area, if you will. And that's where we had a lot of trouble with our crack dealing and stuff like that. That one section of North Cafe Line Road. There are two roads that turn to the right. There's no roads that go to the left off of Cafe Line Road. It's just a field or homes. The first road that you come to is Ed Brown Road. And you take that right, and Ed Brown Road actually runs from east to west, or actually west to east, for like not even 2 blocks. And then there's the parish line. There's a 4-way intersection. And right there, if you cross over the intersection that through the 4-way, that's Tangipahoa Parish. Or you can take a left. It's a gravel road. You take a left, and it runs just like North Cafe Line from south to north until it dead ends probably 2 miles down. If you pass up Ed Brown, about a half a mile up, there's one more unnamed gravel road you can take a right on. There's no houses on it that comes back up to the Ed Brown Road. Okay. So we couldn't say for certain, but naturally that's where we're going to go look first. Plus, we alerted Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office. And a lot of times when we'd have to catch calls down in the hood off of Cafe Line Road and we were by ourselves, if we get out and have somebody at gunpoint or whatever, Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office deputies, because the line is right there, would be our backup, as well as the Albany police if they were available. If they weren't, the dispatch would call Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office and they would have their guys respond. So everybody's looking for this vehicle with the temp license plate, and Ronnie Gregoire and I roll that away. So we turn on North Cafe Line Road and we're jetting down, and we come to Ed Brown, and I tell him, I say, hey, I'm going to peel off on Ed Brown. He said, I'm going to go up to the gravel road, and the next one I told you about. So I turn on Ed Brown, and then I hear I don't make it to the 4-way to the parish line, and I hear Assistant Chief Gregoire on the radio screaming, I got a vehicle driving away. I got one that hit the woods. The car is here. So turn and run in that direction. He gave a description of the vehicle. He actually got the license plate off of it. What happened was when he turned on the road, that vehicle was parked there, the old Cutlass with the temporary Wisconsin tag. Well, why is he parked on that street? Because there's no one on it. It's not even a street. It's just like a gravel pathway that connects the two roads, and it's very secluded. And when he turned onto the road, there was another car parked beside the Cutlass. And when he turns on and he sees them, he's like, oh shit. I mean, he knows they're armed, right? And he calls it in, stops, and he's taking the defensive position by getting out with his pistol. And 2 of the males jump into the car that was parked beside the Cutlass, and that car hauls ass. Well, it didn't come my way because I was coming down Ed Brown the other way and I didn't see him. So they must have took that left and then got back on North Cafe Line. But one of them, because when the chief started screaming commands and had him at gunpoint, he panicked and hit the woods, but he was carrying bags full of money. And so we try to get there and set up a perimeter for the one guy that we have instead of chasing the vehicle. We don't know where it's at, but he had the license plate for it and called in a bolo or be on the lookout for that vehicle. And so we try to set up a perimeter, and people responded. And once we had the perimeter set up, what we thought was a good perimeter, we approached the vehicle to clear it. Now, inside the vehicle, the Wisconsin's temporary plate, duct tape to it, there were numerous bank wrappers for money, like take a stack of $1,000 or whatever, all the ones that obviously they pulled there and they stopped and they were unloading the money, peeling off the wrappers from the money, etc., and trying to divide it up. But there were bank wrappers in the car from Hibernia Bank, numerous that had been torn. There were 2 pistols, which turned out to be cap guns, and then there was another pistol, which was a real pistol. Once the perimeter was set up and the K9 got there and they went into the woods to do the track, they found a bag and some scattered money inside the woods. So this guy panicked so hard that he actually dropped a large amount of money in the woods, and they're on the run, right? So that manhunt is going on. Meanwhile, Chief Russell has the license plate of the vehicle the other 2 drove away in. So the chief and other investigators run the license plate, and they were able to track down the owner of the vehicle that left the gravel road with the 2 bad guys in it. Actually, it was a driver and the 2 bad guys. And they track down the driver, and the driver takes them to a trailer park where he dropped off the 2 bad guys. Okay, now the driver knows he's in a shit pile of trouble. Back then, cell phones weren't so prevalent as they are now, right? But anyway, they had to be involved somehow. Now, it's believed that the driver of that getaway car probably was involved as a lookout in the bank robbery, because one of the dumbass criminals left a walkie-talkie in the bank in the excitement of the robbery. Well, there's no reason to have a walkie-talkie unless you have somebody else that's helping. Now, that's never able to be proven. You know why? Because, believe it or not, even in 2003, and you've heard me talk about cameras before, 2003, inside the Hibernia Bank, fucking cameras weren't working. Can you believe that? Inside a bank on a Friday, which typically banks are going to hold their most money on Fridays because people come to cash or paychecks, etc. The inside cameras weren't working. Outside cameras, yes. Inside cameras, no. Go fucking explain that to your insurance company. Well, I don't get it. I just will never, ever understand why places have cameras that don't work. Just like in the Christopher Pell story, Until Death Do Us Part, that I did that episode, the Popeyes. Kills his wife violently inside the Popeyes, and the fucking cameras aren't working. I don't get it. So back to Hibernia. Inside, we can't say, other than what the eyewitnesses told us, exactly what happened in the sequence was, or you can't prove it, other than from witness testimony, because your goddamn cameras don't work. Anyway, so one of them leaves a radio behind, which tells me they had contact with the outside, which is kind of smart. I mean, if I'm going to rob a bank, certainly I'm going to have somebody outside looking for the police and communicating with me. You know, they couldn't prove it. That guy cooperated and took them to the trailer. The trailer owner said that one of the suspects was there dressed in the dark clothing and was acting nervous and wanted to get out of the area extremely quickly. The trailer owner takes that suspect and gets him a hotel room. All right. So the investigation's still rolling. They roll to the hotel. And I mean, y'all, you got to remember this is hours later after the fact. And they get to the hotel and they take the door and they find some more evidence, some wrappers from the bank, etc., inside the room, but the bad guy is long gone. Good police work? Yeah, I think so. But it would get even better. And let me tell you this statistic so you'll understand. And you can go look this up. This is no shit. In the United States of America.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Mochi. Mochi is a telehealth platform that connects patients seeking medication-based weight loss treatment with board-certified doctors and dietitians to help them determine the best treatment options to accomplish that goal. Mochi's program is completely virtual, meaning you can access their services anywhere in the United States and you will be meeting with their team online. You deserve doctors that listen. Mochi is dedicated to providing holistic, patient-centered care that prioritizes overall well-being with the goal of transforming how weight management is approached. Mochi Health takes a holistic approach to weight loss that includes visit with board-certified doctors, nutrition consultations, and medications delivered to your door. Science-backed medications including GLP-1s like Ozempic and generic compound versions, affordable and accessible regardless of insurance coverage. With Mochi, their dietitians work hand in hand with your medication to create personalized nutrition plans that fit your lifestyle. Reach your weight loss goals with science-backed, FDA-approved GLP-1 medications and support from real doctors and guidance from registered dietitians and help with making easy and sustainable changes to achieve results. Y'all have seen this. My wife has done it. My brother-in-law has done it. One of my best friends is doing it, and it really is an amazing process that works. So get started at joinmochi.com and use code RLRC to receive $40 off. That's join, JOINMOCHI.com, and use code RLRC to receive $40 off and let Mochi help change your life. Hey, y'all, you want to set your child up for success? Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with the subject? Is your child ahead, not getting challenged enough in class? Well, IXL Learning is an online learning program that enriches your homeschool curriculum. It offers practice in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies while adapting to each child, meeting them where they are. Plus, IXL encourages students to become curious and empowers them to choose how to learn. Look, we homeschool our son. No doubt about it. He's more of a visual learner, and we use IXL, and Cindy teaches him, and there are so many different benefits to the program. It adapts to exactly what he needs in different areas. So IXL is the perfect supplement to your homeschool curriculum. IXL offers interactive practice problems, educational games, lessons, and video tutorials for every topic you're teaching at home. It's easy to use, time-saving. Everything on IXL is organized by grade, subject, topic, and subtopic, making it simple to find activities for the exact skills you're covering. IXL offers instant feedback and explanations of new topics as kids use the program. Kids can explore any topic in any grade level. They aren't forced into a single learning path like they are on other programs. If you're homeschooling your child because they were falling behind or because they were too far ahead like our son, IXL is a great program to help them get the exact support they need. Kids love IXL's positive feedback awards and educational games. IXL is trusted by 15 million students worldwide and has proven to improve performance in over 75 scientific research studies. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Real Life Real Crime listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/today. Visit IXL.com/today to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. And don't forget, Real Life Real Crime listeners get 20% off. Y'all, we really do use this product, and it's been a godsend.
The average bank robbery only nets $3,000 to $5,000. The FBI keeps the records on it, right? So at the end of the year, all the bank robberies that happen, it averages out where the bank robbers only get $3,000 to $5,000. I mean, shit, you could get more going to rob a dope dealer on the street corner or going to rob a Burger King or something, and you're liable to get more cash. I mean, it's just a really shitty choice of a place to rob normally because all the cameras and security systems they have and the die packs that can explode on you once you get a certain distance from the bank. Well, Hibernia didn't have those. If they had, it would have been really easy to identify the people, right? Because those die packs, they go off after such a distance from the bank, they explode. And that shit, you can't get it off. I mean, it's there like it seeps into your pores. I mean, I don't care if you get acetone and take a shower in it, you're not getting it off of you. But Hibernia didn't have that. And they didn't have the cameras on the inside. And the robbers were able to get access to the vault, which is just unheard of. But I don't blame the employee for opening the vault. Shit, I'd have done the same thing. I mean, I train the people. Now I do consulting work for large corporations. I tell them when an armed robbery happens, your main goal is to get these people out of the door as quickly as possible. I said, what do you do during an armed robbery? You do whatever the fuck they tell you to do because your main goal is to get them out the door as quickly as possible. So they were able to access the vault. Now keep in mind my statistic. The average bank robbery, $3,000 to $5,000. Y'all, you never believe how much money this little Hibernia bank had in this little small town America. The audit was done after the robbery, and I'm rounding it down some, but approximately $353,000 these assholes got away with. Can you believe that? I mean, hell, if I'd have known the cameras weren't working on the inside, if they had $353,000, I might have robbed the fucking place myself. I mean, geez Louise. So they got away with $353,000 and some change. I mean, that's a big score, but they weren't very skilled robbers, if you will, due to the fact that they left a radio behind. The one guy took the time to sexually batter the one bank employee. And as the investigation progressed and the vehicle and all the evidence was collected, their shit was everywhere. The fingerprints, DNA, and then the one dumbass that didn't pull down his mask all the way until he was entering the bank was later identified by a bank employee. So I'm going to stop it there for this week. This is part 1 of Stick 'em Up. Now, why would you tune in for part 2? Because shit gets stupid. I'll tell you about the rest of the investigation, the apprehensions of the bad guys, the trial, and ultimately the most outrageous appeals process I think that I've ever been involved with or heard of. It's just crazy. So we took a break from murder this week, and we'll conclude Stick 'em Up next Friday. And I'm telling you, tune into it, listen to it, because you're going to love it. So I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next week, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Thanks. Okay, y'all, I told you before the episode began that I was going to do some shout outs and notifications. And the first thing I want to do is thank everybody for listening to the show. You're unbelievable, amazing. And y'all's response is just almost overwhelming. Our numbers don't lie. We are doing on average over 1,000 downloads a day. So right now, as I'm recording this, we're at 47,000 downloads. By the time you listen to this, I would suspect we'll be over 50,000 downloads in 10 or 12 episodes or whatever. It's phenomenal. It's only because y'all are liking and sharing and telling people about us, and you're tuning in and listening every week. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And your support of Real Life, Real Crime, it's awesome. Okay. And speaking of supporters, we actually have several new patron members that came on board to support Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast this week. And I'm going to give them a shout out. And y'all, Patron is a service where our fans, if they want to, can pledge a certain amount of money a month. And for that, you get certain benefits, right? And tier 1 is a $2 pledge, and that's a shout out by me and access to the hotline episode, which we dropped, I think, our third one yesterday. And of course, the response has been overwhelming. Tier 2 is the hotline number, a discount in the store, a shout out, our merchandise store, Real Life, Real Crime, a shout out by me, and access to one free, what I call mini episode a month, which we keep under lock and key. In tier 3, you get everything from tier 1 and 2, plus you get an additional full bonus episode a month. So, but y'all, it's a way to help us offset some of the costs of doing the podcast, and it's really, really appreciated. I just can't say thanks enough. But we have our new members, Miss Sadie Applefeller from Greensboro, North Carolina. Miss Sadie, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to reach out and support us and make the pledge, and I appreciate it. And then Miss Amy Clement, Clement, from Livingston, Louisiana. Well, y'all have heard me talk about Livingston. That's right here in my backyard. Miss Amy, we really, really appreciate you and really appreciate you supporting us financially. And it's awesome. We love you. Then Miss Stacy Spradling, Spradling, from Hallsville, Texas. Miss Stacy, thank you so much for becoming a patron member and supporting Real Life, Real Crime. It's really important to us, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Miss Alicia Bess from Cleveland, Ohio. Miss Alicia, I really appreciate you becoming a patron member and supporting Real Life, Real Crime. And Karen Travels. Miss Karen, you're awesome. Thank you so much for supporting us through Patreon on Real Life, Real Crime. I appreciate it, and it really helps us out. We love it, and we love having you as a listener. And Amy Ardon Fowler. Y'all, I worked with Amy and her husband at the sheriff's office for many, many, many years. And more importantly, Amy's father was a detective. When I made detective, he was already a detective, Robert Ardon. And he was just one of the coolest cats you'll ever meet. Never got frazzled or razzled or dazzled by anything. Taught me a lot of what I know. And a really good cop, really good detective, and funnier than hell. Maybe one day, hopefully, I can get him on. He's retired now. But Robert, hope you're doing well, brother. Love you. So, Amy, thank you for joining Patreon and supporting us. I really appreciate it. And the Firebird up their pledge from a lower tier to our highest tier. And Firebird, I know who you are now, but you know I love you, and I've known you forever, and you're a sweetheart. So that's it on the new Patreon member pledges. I love y'all, and I appreciate it. All our Patreon members, thank you so much. It doesn't matter what tier you are. Now, the rest of our fans, if you can't become a Patreon member, I don't care. I love you anyway, and I thank you for making us such a success. And please, if you want to support the show, you want to help us out in any way, then just tell somebody about us and like us and share us. And y'all, don't forget about our private Facebook page, Real Life, Real Crime, Friends, Fans, and Crew, run by the best team of moderators, my dream team. These ladies are fantastic. And if you're not a member of the page, send a request and they'll get you approved. It's a private page. There's a lot of fan interaction, a lot more episode discussion, a lot of episode promotions and giveaways and things like that. It's really cool. And we're over like 760 members now, and it's been, I think, 2 months. So it's growing rapidly, but go there and use it. And then we created Real Life, Real Crime Lanyap group. And Lanyap, y'all, is a Cajun word meaning free or bonus or something extra, right? So this is an extra group page. Actually, my wife Cindy created it for our fans because we had such interaction on the crew page. People are just blowing it up. And a lot of our fans have different hobbies or interests or crafts or things that they make or sell, or like Jenny White from California's husband sent us these coins that he hand engraves and stuff. So we created this page so our fans could get together and share whatever it is that they love. Me, I love hot sauce and beer, and I want to trade it from people, local beers from around the nation or the world. We are 47,000 downloads in 83 countries across the world now. That's 83. So if y'all join that page and you want to trade some beer or hot sauce or local food items, or sell whatever you want to sell, that showcase off whatever your hobby is, it's just something lanyard extra free or bonus for our fans, and another way for them to interact. It's pretty cool. So check it out. And that reminds me that we also have our lanyard button, y'all. If you want to support Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, and you don't want to do Patreon, totally get it. If you want to make a donation, there's a lanyard button on the page, and you can donate whatever you want, $1 up to whatever you want to. And the lanyard fund, of course, will help us monetarily, but it also gets you an automatic shout out on the very next episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And Patreon members, don't forget about your discount in the merchandise store, y'all. In the merchandise store, we have some really great stuff. It's at rlrcpodcast.com. So go there and check it out. Great stuff. And I know it seems like I'm going on forever, right? Y'all, we have our own YouTube channel now. So you go to YouTube. I didn't know anything about YouTube before we did this, but you go to YouTube and you search Real Life, Real Crime podcast under channels, and it comes up. And what it is, we have every episode that I've done, plus we have some camera stuff that I've done, some broadcasts from different locations. I did one from Biloxi. I've done one from Natchez, Mississippi. I've done one from Lafayette, Louisiana. I've done one from down here at Canal Bank Club, which was the beginning for me for the case Overkill. And so we're going to continue to do that. And we did one from our little favorite Mexican restaurant. So if you want extra bonus material, or you want to see us versus just hearing me, then check us out on YouTube and subscribe to it. And then we're also on Twitter and Instagram, and of course the now 3 pages on Facebook. So I don't want to take any more of your time. Please tune in next week. This story doesn't have all the violence, etc. in it. Stick them up that the other one, our normal episodes do, but wait until you hear the stupidity of our criminal justice system. Sometimes it's going to blow you away. But anyway, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Thank you. Until next time, don't let me catch you down on Murder by You. Bye.
Oh, she do me love, oh, she do me. I don't want nobody, woman. Oh, she do me.